Hello NFL fans, welcome to NFL Picks with Dave. Hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving. Today we're going to predict how NFL Week 12 will turn out. But first, let's start with the Thanksgiving game results. The Texans had a field day in Detroit. The final score for that game was Texans 41, Lions 25. Alex Smith and company also had a fun day on Thanksgiving. Washington torched the injured Cowboys with a score of 41-16. Don't look now, ladies and gentlemen, but the Washington football team is now in first place in the NFC East. Now let's move on to the rest of Week 12. Our first game takes us to Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo Bills take on the Chargers. The Bills last week had the week off, while the Chargers defeated the winless Jets with a score of 34-28. Since the Bills are coming off a bye week, I'm picking them with a score of 31-21. Our next game takes us to Indianapolis, where the Colts take on the Titans. Indianapolis last week defeated the Packers in a blockbuster game. The final score was 34-31. The Titans also pulled off an upset by defeating the Ravens with a score of 30-24. This game is going to be about who makes the least mistakes. This pick is a tough one. Since the Colts defeated the Titans last time and made a stronger statement last week, I'm picking them with a score of 27-24. Our next game is between the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots. Arizona last week lost to the Seattle Seahawks with a score of 28-21. The Patriots meanwhile lost to the horrible Houston Texans with a score of 27-20. Since the Cardinals had more time off, I'm picking them with a score of 20-17. Our next pick takes us to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the undefeated Steelers take on the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens last week lost in a heartbreaker to the Titans in overtime, while the Steelers crushed the Jaguars with a score of 27-3. Since the Steelers are on a roll, I'm picking them with a score of 31-24. My next picks are the Browns over the Jaguars, 42-7, which is the lock of the week by the way, the Giants over the Bengals, 13-10, the Vikings over the Panthers, 31-17, the Dolphins over the Jets, 38-0, and the Raiders over the Falcons, 28-20. Now let's move on to the later games. Our first late afternoon matchup is between the Red Hot Saints and the Denver Broncos. Last week, the Saints defeated the Falcons with a score of 24-9, while the Broncos defeated the Dolphins in a shocking upset with a score of 20-13. This pick is also a tough one. Since the Saints are on a 7-game winning streak, I'm picking them in a close one. My predicted score, the Saints 21, Broncos 14. Our next game takes us to Los Angeles, California, where the Rams take on the San Francisco 49ers. Los Angeles last week defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a score of 27-24. The 49ers meanwhile had the week off. Even though San Francisco is coming off a bye week, I'm still going to pick the Rams in this one. My final score, Rams 31, 49ers 17. Our final late afternoon matchup is between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the ultra red hot Kansas City Chiefs. Last week, the Bucs lost to the Rams in a close one. The Chiefs, meanwhile, defeated their arch nemesis, the Las Vegas Raiders, with a score of 35-31. Since the Chiefs are on a roll, I'm picking them with a score of 35-30. Now let's move on to the last two primetime games. Our first primetime game takes us to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where the Packers host division rival the Chicago Bears. The Bears last week had the week off, while the Packers lost to the Colts with a score of 34-31 in a heartbreaker. Since the Packers are so upset about the loss, I predict that they'll rebound and win this one. My predicted score, Green Bay 27, Chicago 20. And now, the last pick of the week. It's the Seahawks taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Seattle last week defeated the Cardinals in a wild Thursday night football game, while the Eagles lost to the Browns with a score of 22-17. Since the Seahawks are coming off a Thursday night football game, I'm picking them with a score of 38-24. And that does it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to get the latest videos and posts I do. Also, follow me on Twitter at DaveMeter2, and be sure to like this channel's Facebook page. Thanks again for watching, and remember to wear a mask, practice social distancing, and stay home when you're sick. Thanks for staying safe, and hope to see you again soon.